A guide to selling Magic the Gathering cards using TCGplayer Buylist. How MTG players can use this new service to their advantage. A word before we begin. This video is sponsored by TCGplayer, but beyond their support of the channel, this video is 100% my own. TCGplayer did not get to see this video. They don't get to see it until you do. My assessment, my words, this guide is exactly as it would have been had I made this video without their sponsorship. In the end, TCGplayer Buylist is a tool, one of many, for you, the player, to have access to. Not every player is going to benefit from it, but for those that will, it is very advantageous and certainly convenient. It is you, the player, who makes that determination, whether or not to utilize a service such as this, if it meets your needs. And since a service like this is going to have wildly different value to different players depending upon your needs, this video will focus much more on guidance to the service, how to use it, and why, rather than a typical evaluation and grade. In the end, you, the individual player, needs to determine if this very specific tool is one that benefits you. But if you are interested in checking out TCGplayer Buylist, there's a special code in the description to take you directly there and let you start selling your cards instantaneously. You, of course, do not have to use that link, and no, I do not receive any extra money or any extra credit if you use that link. It just lets TCGplayer know that this sponsorship was effective for them, which helps me out a lot behind the scenes. So if you click on it to go check them out, then I thank you, but you don't have to. Anyway, let's get to the good stuff. What exactly is TCGplayer Buylist? Selling a large selection of cards can often be an arduous task. Each card needs to be individually listed, a price selected, and then you play the waiting game. Maybe some sell right away, hooray! But still others, oftentimes a lot of the others, take a very long time to sell if they ever do at all. Maybe those cards just aren't in that high demand. Maybe your price is too high. Maybe prices are changing every day and it's hard to keep up when you have a sell binder filled with pages upon pages of cards ranging everywhere in value from between $1 to $20. Is there a way to sell all or almost all of those cards at once and just be done with it? Well, yes, there is. If you're willing to sell for below market price, you can always use a store's buy list. What is a buy list? Game stores sell cards, but that also means they buy them. As a result, stores have what is known as a buy list, a list of cards that they are buying. Buy lists obviously offer less than market price for the card, because of course the store needs to then turn around and sell that card for market price. Players sell cards to stores via their buy list because, even though they are getting less than the market price, they are gaining the advantage and ease of selling all or almost all of their cards at once. No hassle of individually listing cards, individually selling, individually mailing, and otherwise dealing endlessly with the sales end involved with a giant selection of cards that you're looking to sell. If you go down to a store for a buy list, you get rid of all or, again, almost all of your cards all at once, one fell swoop. But not everyone has a local game store, or maybe your local game store doesn't have a robust buy list, or maybe your local game store only wants 10 or 20 or 30% of your cards because they don't do as much business as a larger store, or they simply don't have a need in their inventory for the cards that you are trying to sell. That's where TCGplayer Buylist comes in. Instead of you taking your sell folder to one game store's buy list, you take your sell folder to TCGplayer Buylist, which is a combination of hundreds of different stores' buy lists. TCGplayer buys all your cards all at once based on the needs of these hundreds of independent game stores. And thus you are able to go to one source, TCGplayer, and sell your cards to one location, which will then distribute the cards to the individual stores. You, the player, only deal with TCGplayer. You use their website only and mail all your cards to one location in one package, the TCGplayer warehouse, and then you get paid from TCGplayer. They are the ones that deal with those hundreds of car stores. Not your problem. For players, it's a great way to automatically find Buylist prices from hundreds of stores across the country for thousands of Magic the Gathering cards. And for stores, TCGplayer Buylist is a great way to open up their Buylist to the hundreds of thousands of players that visit TCGplayer.com each day. How to use TCGplayer Buylist. Following the link in this video's description, you can set up a TCGplayer Buylist offer. Once you've set up the basics, your name, address, payment information, etc., you'll have a level 1 Buylist account. This will limit you to selling 100 cards at a time and a total of $1,000 per offer. To create your first offer, simply search for the cards you are looking to sell. Select your card or just type out the full name, and you'll see if there are any stores currently looking to buy that card. You'll see how many are needed overall, what conditions are needed, and how much is being offered to you. For example, here you see that 2 Crosan Verges from Arch Enemy are currently being needed in lightly played condition, and that Buylist can offer me 51 cents each. Remember, that is below market price, but it is also for an immediate sale and part of, presumably, a giant lot sale. And so I proceed to go through all my cards that I want to sell via Buylist. Some simply may not be in demand, and that is going to happen. Although do remember that Buylist is a brand new service, and more stores are adding their Buylists every day. Once done, you'll end up with a list of all the cards that you are selling through TCGplayer Buylist. So yes, I am selling my Dimensional Infiltrator for only 28 cents, and my Desecration Demon for only 52 cents. But they've been sitting in my trade folder and sell folder forever. They aren't going anywhere, and I'm happy to just get something for them as part of a large lot sale. And this, by the way, is a real Buylist offer that I put out. You can see that for these 14 cards, TCGplayer Buylist offered me $35.32. Once your Buylist offer is complete, you review and make sure everything is correct. And then simply print out the Buylist offer invoice sheet, enclose your cards in an appropriately sized envelope, and mail them into TCGplayer. In a matter of days, you will have your Buylist offer processed, and barring any discrepancies or errors, you will be paid. A Buylist of hundreds, if not thousands of stores. Convenient shipping, fast processing and payment, dealing with a reliable, established, and trustworthy company. A Buylist is nothing new, but this synergistic database of hundreds of Buylists backed by TCGplayer is. Who is TCGplayer Buylist for? This is ultimately a question only you can answer. A player with half a dozen in-demand cards probably isn't going to use Buylist. That player's probably going to benefit by just selling those cards on TCGplayer or elsewhere at market value through the normal selling process. But for me, the cards that I have now cleared out via Buylist, not just in the sample that I showed you, but also in all the selling I did as soon as Buylist launched, has been a great way for me to clear out pages and pages of cards that were just sitting around collecting dust. And yeah, I really liked getting some quick cash all at once easily for that stack of cards. Sure, it was considerably less than I would have gotten had I been able to sell them at market value, but I wasn't able to sell them at market value. They honestly were sitting in my binder for a very long time, and I was really glad to get rid of them. But that's me. Buylist is a tool. It is something you utilize strategically when and if you have need. But if this is a service that does apply to you or will apply to you, then I hope very much this video has been of some help to you. And you can help me out by remembering to subscribe, like, share, or just by leaving a comment. And remember, if you are interested in seeing if TCGplayer Buylist is right for you, then follow the link in this video's description and see for yourself.